Hey everyone, I hope that you're doing well and that this message finds you in a good place this week. Just a reminder that this week is our catch up week. There's no spring break at CNM, but I hope that this week will provide you with a little bit of breathing room so that you can regroup, either catch up, get ahead, just take a minute to do something else, whatever it is that you need this week, so that you'll be able to finish the semester strong. Um, Looking ahead, so again, this week is the week off, but looking ahead, next week we'll have start Unit 5. After that, there's only one more sort of regular unit. I say it that way because we'll be focusing on the book Ay Rigoberta Menchú in Unit 6. So that will be kind of the core of the activities we'll be doing. There will be some work on the discussion board. So it'll be a little bit different than the usual setup, but not completely. I do want to remind you next week when you start Unit 5. So it'll be actually in a few weeks from now when you get to the timeline assignment, or what would usually be the timeline assignment in Unit 5. We'll be completing the assessment activity that we've been given from the School of Communications, Humanities, and Social Sciences. This is connected to assessment that the state is doing for New Mexico higher ed in the humanities area. So as I mentioned before, the activity and the assignment doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Latin American history, but it is an exercise in critical thinking, in taking a position and making a reasoned argument for it. And so there is no timeline assignment in Unit 5. You'll be doing that instead, and you will get credit, as much credit as you would get for the timeline assignment, for doing that assessment instead. If you have questions about that, let me know. But again, there's a few weeks still before we get there, because we'll be doing our reading for Unit 5 and the reading responses, whether on Twitter or the discussion board, before we get to that. So just a reminder. If you're in a position where you're a little behind in class and you would like some help, please let me know. That's what I'm here for. I'm happy to help with any questions that you have, or even if you're still not quite sure what the timeline assignment is about, or how to work Tiki-Taki, or anything, any number of questions that you have. It's not too late to ask. Please ask. I'm here to help. Um, Anyone can still succeed and do well in our course at this point in time. So the key is just to ask the questions and get whatever support you may need. Along those lines, I wanted to mention the feedback that I've provided for the timeline assignments from Unit 4. I really enjoyed reading the work that you did, the topics that you chose. It's always fascinating, especially for me, seeing from semester to semester kind of the differences in terms of what kinds of topics one class will choose compared to another. But I think we did a good job thinking about this issue of nationalism in the early 20th century, not just in the revolution in Mexico, but also in reform movements in the Southern Cone and so on. Thinking about the limitations of nationalism and some of the problems with it as an ideology. It's just as destabilizing as anything, in so many ways. But it was a way for Latin American nations to push back against European and American influence so that they could gain some self-determination during that time period that we were studying. On Brightspace, I have provided you some feedback then specifically about your timeline entry, your journal entry, and I often either add some additional information in that feedback, or I pose some follow-up questions, whatever it may be. I realize there's not like an easy way for you to just respond to me inside of the Grade Center and Brightspace. So please, if you're of a mind to, send me an email to respond to that feedback, or let me know if you have questions about it, so that we can talk about it there. In many ways, the feedback is where a lot of the kind of teaching and interaction takes place in our class, besides what we see in Twitter and the discussion boards. So at least with me. So please do, let me know if you have further questions. Let me know what thoughts you have about the questions that I've posed, and so on. All right, I think that's it. Again, please be in contact. Let me know how I can help you. And I look forward to getting into Unit 5 a week from today, or I guess a week from yesterday.